Now we can put in our buttonholes, and it is a little bit easier than you think. And also you can just look at what I have put onto the pattern, but it's good to know why they are where they are. You need to take off the seam allowance at the lower end first, and then the distance from that line to the start of that button should be the same as the distance from the edge of the waistband to the first button start. So you want to start that buttonhole a centimeter below. And when you have the top buttonhole, you can just mark the distance to the next one and the next one, just so it's evenly spread. And really there's nothing to that. It's just a matter of just kind of working it out a little bit. But you can also use my pattern for it. And I'm just checking that I've marked the beginning of each buttonhole, and I have. It's fine. So I'm just going to put a little cross there and the distance, and it should sit right in the center of the placket, which is 1.25 centimeters. But with a pfaff foot, it's really easy because you just put that foot on the center of your placket and you have the right position going down vertically. And then I just put my needle down and do the first side and the other side. And also you can just fold it over to check that it really is in the middle, and it is perfectly aligned. Then I'm gonna do the length of the buttonhole. And yeah, I made them a little bit too long, but never mind. So I'm putting that buttonhole in first. Oh, yeah, that's good. I keep fiddling with it until it's all straight. There you go down. I prefer actually the mechanical machines by far for buttonholes to the electronic ones because they go wrong so much. And here I've got so much more control. And that foot is so brilliant because it is the same distance from the needle position to either edge of my foot. So I use that foot as a gauge, and the electronic machine, the foot is not the same to either side. Why on earth they wouldn't do that, I have no idea. But it's got like a little bit that comes out on the side, a little bit of plastic, and it makes no sense at all. This is so much easier to do because it's very good for everyone that's very visual. So right, needle back down, check it's the same distance to the edges, both sides. It's actually simple. Just the length of the buttonhole again. Put it down and go. I pull it a little bit. I tend to do that. It's like more habit than anything else. I don't think I need to pull anything, but I tend to pull on my buttonholes a little bit, especially when it goes back up in a minute. And I'm always worried that it'll get stuck. So I give it a little bit of love there. Go back up to the end of the buttonhole. Finish it off. A few stitches in air so that it's fixed. And then we do the last one again. I center this, put the needle down, start my buttonhole. Make sure it's all in the same height so that the buttonholes are all the same. But if they're not all the same here, it really is not a big thing because you won't be able to see it because you're not sewing the button in any particular corner. It sits in the center of your buttonhole. So if it's a little bit further down, a little bit further up, it doesn't really matter. So see, that's what I mean. You can't see irregularities at all. Now we're going to put the top buttonholes in, and they should really start in line with those vertical buttonholes. So I'm going to just take a pin and mark that. And the bob standard distance to the edge tends to be 1.2 centimeters. So if you marked 1.2 centimeters over, you're absolutely fine. That'll come out perfect. But you need to know where to put them. And the best thing to do is to do it visually and put your buttons on there and see where they need to go, where they look good. That's where you're going to put your buttonhole. Yeah, see, that's not quite right now. I need to go down a little bit. And once you have the right position, or you think you do, then you can measure the distances from the top edge to your pin and from, you know, the lower edge to the pin and make sure that's the same. And when it is, you can put the buttons back on just to give it a final check, see if that's okay. And then you can put a little dot there. Watch closely. I'm putting my dot over a little bit further to the left. I was very tired. Can you see it? So 1.2 from the edge, that's about perfect for all of this, especially since the other ones are starting at 1.25, so it's about right. It works perfectly with the width of this placket and everything. Put a cross there so I can't miss it. And back over to the sewing machine where we're going to put those little buttonholes in. And again, I love the buttonhole foot of the puff because I got the distance from the right edge now to the edge of my waistband. When I do the other buttonhole, the same distance needs to go to the top. So in a minute you'll see that it wasn't quite right. I didn't put it right in the right position. I was very, very tired doing that. So really sometimes it's worthwhile having a stop. So I'm putting it on and I'm thinking, well, that's a bit too far from there. That's not right. So I'm going to go back over here and I put it down and I look where my buttonhole is. And I'm thinking, well, that's not quite right. So it needs to be here. And that's the beauty of using this puff foot, that because it's so even in distance, you can use it to gauge yourself. And to be honest, if I'm just sewing, I don't measure it. I just measure the edge 1.2, draw a line across there, and then set it down to where the presser foot has a really good distance to the edge, you know, roughly. And I put them in and it never fails me. But of course, yeah, when you start sewing, you should mark everything. Sometimes I actually go more wrong because I start marking it so I can do these videos for you guys. So that's quite funny. I mean, these are really, really badly put in, but there you go. See, one of them is further to the left there. I just looked at it and I thought, I never do that. But when I try to do it very slowly for you guys so you can all see, that's when it happens. Anyway, cut open the buttonholes and be very brave. Just fold them over, snip it, and then go right into the corners. You can also check whether your button goes through all right. I did that particularly because the ones that I put in vertically were a little bit too big, so I didn't open the buttonhole all the way. So I'm just putting a button through there. Yep, that's fine. So the next step now is to sew my skirt to the yoke. So I must make sure I overlap here the right amount, the 2.5 centimeters. And then we can pop over to the next chapter where we're going to sew it all together. See you there.